I hope I didn't keep you waiting too long. Welcome to part 2 of my Sill's Books and Wine reading wrap up from January to July. We are now in the second installment of this wrap up so that we can get caught up on all the reading that I've done so far. And then when you get the August wrap up, we will be in good standings. I read 6 books in July. We went through January to June in the first video, but this particular video, I have a lot to say because a lot was going on. So let's get into it. Okay, here we have The Fox. Cute, short, sweet. I have quite a few tabs. This is book 3 in the Family Ties series. I started the year with The Prodigy. Then throughout January, I ended up reading book 2, which is The Rise of the Queen. So The Prodigy 2. And now we have book 3, The Fox. This is the sister of the male main character of books 1 and 2. And whoa. The way that Jazz was presented in book 1, you would think, girl has no sense. The girl is slow. You would think that, elevator doesn't go to the top. Lights on, nobody's home. That's how it was written. And I think that it was so interesting because the only person that experienced Jazz as someone that has a little bit of sense, any sense at all, was the female main character in book 1. And I thought that that was so interesting that her own family was treating her like, girl, you better be glad you're cute because you don't really have it all. Jazz is actually kind of smart, guys. Nobody's giving her any credit until we get into her book and then we realize, oh, she's just crazy. The things that she's into, that's not safe. That's not healthy. Gunplay. You like a little gunplay? Okay, all right. I wasn't expecting that. She presented herself, or was written in book 1 and 2, kind of like a Hillary Banks, where it's like Hillary will give you a couple one-liners where it's like, oh my gosh, you can think, you do know things. But then when we get in her book, her energy, her personality is more Maxine Shaw. I said, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. But it was interesting to see how you could picture a side character in one book, and then when they get their own book, you're like, you do have depth. That's kind of cool. So you can't really say too much about Jazz. Jazz got her own things going on. Her boyfriend's in prison or jail, and she's being the supportive girlfriend. She's showing up to court until one day she's told not to. One day she's told not to come back to court. Right. Okay. I'm not going to tell you who it's following. It's following Jazz and somebody else because the book is not that long. Can't give too much of that away. And you haven't experienced book 1 or 2. So why would I do that to you? I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It was a good read. It can't be better than the first one. You get what I'm saying? So, and then a heavy hitter came. Something told me, pull this book, read this book. This is an author that I have had another book of hers saved for so long that I wanted. I don't know why I didn't just buy it. I think I was so early into my reading journey that it was like that book just seems as if I'm not ready. You know what I mean? When I finally got the chance to pre-order some of her books, I didn't even buy that one because I already had an ebook copy. This book that came in my BRBF pre-order, because I picked it, I said, I want to pull that. I want to read that. This is a dark romance. I'm telling you now before I show you the book because I don't want to hear it. If you end up reading it and you're like, what is this madness? I'm telling you, it is a dark romance. This is Moni. Be nice. Moni's been through a lot, okay? This is Filth King's book. Those are my tabs that fell out. This is book 1 in the Filth King series, 2 books in the series. Moni has been through so much, so please be kind. I am someone who envisions the characters, the scenes, and for certain books, Demon's Dream is one. This is another one where we're introduced to the male main characters, 2 male main characters, in this case, they're brothers, and I cannot picture an actual human being. They start out so bad that I can't even see a human. I'm seeing a monster for real. Nickname Moni, Monster is his name. But his name is not Monster. His nickname is Monster. His nickname by the female main character or side character or co-female main character. Anyway, the girl that he likes She calls him Monty when they finally get introduced to each other, get familiar with each other and everything. And that's when he started looking more like a human to me. But before that, my goodness, couldn't see a thing. I was scared. And I will also say that this book, and this is why I said I needed a part 2, because I have a lot to say. These are by far the worst parents I have met all reading year so far. I don't think any other parents can be worse than the Filth King's parents this year. There could be worse out there. Haven't read them yet. These parents are so bad. They're so bad. They're so terrible. It starts off like the mom, you would think, okay, she really wants a child. She's going into labor. Okay, wonderful. That man says, basically, I'm paraphrasing, are you done? Okay, you got to be a mom. Get that kid out of here. Give him up. What? Do you not know how being parents work? What do you mean? She gave birth and now, okay, you held him cute. Give that baby up. Ew, we don't want him. What? Yeah, so she ended up having more kids. One of them gets sent away. Remember, dark romance, so think the darkest thing you can think. One of them gets sent away. The other one looks too much like his terrible father, so she doesn't want him either, because she's like, no, you're too much like your dad. Gross. The third one, she realized he's the most exceptional looking and the kindest, maybe because he was the youngest, he doesn't know any better. And then you start deciding at some point that you want a girl. You have 3 boys. And because you don't want them to end up like their father, now you're ready for a girl. How she ends up getting that girl, we won't get into it. But anyway, Filth Kings, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I think that this book took me through quite a few emotions. One that I've already discussed, the transition from monster to human, seeing the male main characters, not just Monty, but his brother, Detavio. Detavio is the one that we are introduced to first as a person, and I can envision him being a human being. But Monty is his brother. That's more like his security, his bodyguard, his right-hand man. And it was interesting because his brother adapted, Detavio adapted a lot better at the beginning of the story. And then it took Monty quite a few chapters to get to the point where he's talking more, he's explaining what he's feeling. He's open to the idea of being more vulnerable, more human, and to be around people more. And I felt like he was a beautiful character for that reason. Very scary though, but he was a beautiful character for that reason. This book gets very, very dark, but I can appreciate the elements because of how it transitioned from the darkest days that they've experienced to finding women that understand them or are trying to accept them and are willing to be there for their growth. So that's why I feel like this book, I don't know, I wasn't in the reading space when this first came out. I don't think I was. Let me see. Because I think it came out, oh no, I was around. But I wasn't watching the videos on this book at the time, but I remember seeing this cover and I was like, this is crazy. This cover is crazy. And I think that I would hope that it got the reviews that it really deserved. I didn't give it 5 stars, and I know that's crazy to say because I had so much to say about this book just now, but I didn't give it 5 stars because there were a lot of grammatical errors in my opinion. It was enough for me to take off 0.5. And I think for those that maybe are Kindle readers, you might not have that problem. Maybe the editing has happened since the publication, the printing of this book, but for me, I almost took a red pen to it. It was more than it's not just one word here, one word there. It was like, come on now, let's get some more eyes on this, please, because I'm liking it. I didn't even touch on the erotic elements in the book yet, but they are there. Will it have you questioning the things that you like or don't like? Yes. Yes, it will. Will you think, wait, should I be liking this? You are going to have those moments in this book where you're like, no, that's not something that I'm into, is it? Is it? So anyway, I didn't want to really touch on that because obviously it's in the name, Filth Kings. Of course, they're being filthy, right? But I think that there are so many other things in the book that made it interesting. And I think the beginning of the book where we're doing the flashback, it almost made it feel like medieval. It didn't feel like we were of this time period because it was so dark, because it was so bizarre. And I think once you get through that, you can see, okay, this is just an eerie place that we're in right now. Anyway, 4.5. I decided to throw a Summerween in there. This is a book that is from my unfinished business stack. Woo! Jump scare. I started this last year, maybe the year before. But given the current political climate, I said, this is too much like present day. I'm gonna put it down. I did read this in tandem with the audio. I think that heightened the experience, and that's why I was able to rate it 4 stars. I think that people that are reading this and not appreciating the historical elements of the book, they will say they don't like it. They will say that I don't understand. They will say it because there is language in here that is not of present day lingo. And if you're not open to taking your time to read it, because it's not big, but if you're not open to the historical elements of the book, then maybe give the audio a try. But I enjoyed it for what it was. It was creepy to me because I really do feel like the people are like that of today. Anyway, so 4 stars for that. This was really hard for me because I'm gonna miss them. I've been thinking about them since I finished the book. This is Carter Boys 3, Don't Mess with the Carter Boys by Desiree. Also goes by the name Granger on her fantasy novels, but we're on the urban side. So I finished the series. These are my tabs. I don't know if you can see them all, but they're there. They're there. And I don't know what I'm gonna do other than go back in her catalog. And it is a little tricky, and not just Desiree, but Desiree, I'm gonna call Desiree out first because I'm holding the book. I want physical copies, and I think that's the challenging thing with indie authors is that they don't always have physical copies readily available. So it's almost as if you have to punch, kick, and scream when the pre-orders happen. You have to be on every single website, almost try and get their phone number to find out when they're going to be in an event. And when you do find out they're going to be at an event, they might not be going anymore. And then if they go to an event, they might not even be doing any signings. So it's just kind of like you get a book when you get a book. You know what I mean? And I am trying my best to stay off of screens. So a lot of the other books that I want from Desiree, I don't know if I'll be able to get. I do have a couple more back here that I'm going to get into from her catalog. It's the book before this series. It's called For the Love of ATL. I'm excited about having it and I'm excited about reading it, but I'm going to take my time. Anyway, back to this one. Carter Boys, I had a time. The relationships, the pregnant, not pregnant, pregnant again, lied about being pregnant, the kick him out, kick her out, take her stuff, put her stuff back, the I'm in a relationship with him, no I'm not, somebody's getting shot, whoa, somebody's on drugs, like families fighting, people cussing each other out, people on campus find out that you're dating this girl, you cheating on the girl with somebody that you... So much is going on with the Carter Boys and the girls that love them or think they love them. Get into it if you can. I believe the entire series is on Barnes & Noble online. Look for it there if you haven't had it. You'll just put in the Carter Boys, Desiree, it should come up for you. I definitely gave this 5 stars. I think it's a good closer. Was it better than book 1? No. Was it better than book 2? They're around the same, but I gave it 5 because it tied a bow on everything for the most part. Only one person I'm trying to figure out where is she at. And if you know, you know. Where is she at? Anyway. 5 stars. Then we're getting into my vacation reads. I took 3 books with me to Jamaica when I went. July is typically when I go. And I took 3 books, completed 2, came back with half of the 3rd one read. So I felt really good about that. So this was my airport read. Very cute, very slim, very small. I don't recall. A recall. No, recall would be things that are faulty. A psychological thriller by Nia Forrester and somebody else. Who is this? With Alan. I don't know Alan, but anyway, I read it. Did I read it in the airport? No. Flight was getting delayed. Got on the plane. I chose sleep. Got on the flight with my niece and my mom. I played with my niece. Read a couple of pages. And then I ended up finishing it the day after. But anyway, 40 something pages, not even 50 pages. And I'm trying to figure out why the man couldn't figure out why he woke up in a room with a body in it. He couldn't figure out why. I couldn't figure out why. Till we figured out why. All right. And I gave that 5 because I was trying to solve it. And it wasn't a point where I was just like, I know exactly what happened. No, I had no clue where we were going with that. No clue. Whew. The people were fighting for their lives for this cover. At BRBF, the people wanted this cover so bad. Who was first in line? When she didn't have her card machine, or the machine was down, or it didn't come up on the elevator, whatever the situation was, who had cash? When her things were not, in place because, things were going on. I think it was just one thing after another at her table. But who had a marker? Thank you. Thank you. So when I do my BRBF checklist and I have certain things in my little pouches, this is why. You carry some cash, you carry a marker, and you also carry your fan. You even carry a pen if you have to, because that lady didn't have no marker and she didn't have a card machine ready. But guess who had everything she needed so I could get this cover? I had what was needed. Thank you. So yeah, read that. My tabs are here. See my tabs. We have some, do I have any at the top? Yeah, I do. I don't know if you'll be able to see them. They're a little light blue, I think. Anyway, so I read this and I knew that I was enjoying it when I was flipping to see, am I still stranded on the island? I said day 1, okay. Day 2, okay. The fact that I'm stranded on an island with a famous rapper, and I'm already on the island, not 1 day, not 2 days, not 3 days, not 4 days. How long am I gonna be on this island? And I had to look a little bit. I said, ooh, 1 week. The fact that the book starts with them not liking each other because he's rude, disrespectful, inappropriate, his family's aggravating, they're on the plane, she is the flight concierge, the flight attendant of a private airline, and the fact that you are on your last flight in your career because you're retiring as a flight concierge, and the last flight you have is with this famous rapper going to his bachelor party weekend with his family, his right-hand secretary / mom, and plane goes down, and then you're stranded on an island. So he's thinking, I'm famous. Of course, they're going to be looking for me. Shame, couldn't find you. You could tell we couldn't find you. This is how long we couldn't find you. And it goes from there. I'm not going to give you too much. 5 stars. And that's the end of my January to July reading wrap up. I think my reading experience after BRBF really heightened because the beginning of the year was looking dark. It was looking bleak. It was looking scary. But as we got closer to the book event and just pulling whatever books I wanted from the shelf, it just felt like this is what my reading should be like. And then I picked something else up in August, and I can't wait to share with you my experience with that because what was that? Anyway, so I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day, out of your night, out of your week, out of your month to listen to me ramble about books. And I hope that maybe one of these sparks your interest. I hope that if you've already read one of these books, you'll let me know your thoughts. And if one of my 5 stars was your 2-star, we can talk about it. But it's like, if I liked it and you didn't like it, like, you can't force me to not like it. I liked it. You know what I mean? So anyway, I can't wait to see how the rest of my reading year goes. I hope that it is as exciting as the last couple months have been, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.